Welcome to Blackbird Writers Presents. I am Tracey Phillips, and I am here today talking to TK Sheffield, who is also a Tracey.
Yes, with an
Hi,
E.
Tracey. Um, Tracey TK is a native Wisconsin writer who writes about Wisconsin, among other things. She grew up in the Dairy State and has worked in communications, public relations, and education. She is a lifelong horsewoman, having ridden dressage for many years, and she writes the backyard model mysteries from her home in rural Wisconsin. Um, so her award-winning debut, The Model Suspect, released in November, and it's a comic, cozy mystery. So much fun. Oh my gosh. And the story is served with a brandy old fashioned and a side of cheese curds.
Yes.
So much fun. Welcome, Tracey. It's so great to talk to you today.
Oh, thank you so much, Tracey. As I loved the idea that we could chat together. I love being a Blackbird writer. I just have found such a welcome in the community, and I look forward to entertaining writers and readers as I work with the Blackbirds.
Yeah. And we're so grateful that you're here with us. Your book is so much fun, and I can't even wait for the next ones. And I don't even usually read, like, thriller is my thing, and but comedy is just sort of not. But I had so many LOL moments during
Oh,
reading your book. It was great.
oh, I'm glad to hear that. I write, you always have to have like a mantra that keeps you going. And I write for readers who want to laugh and escape. Because let's face it, the world is heavy right now. And I just want to provide entertainment for someone who wants to just slip into a funny novel
Mm.
and live through my main character, Mel Tower, and maybe, think up funny answers the way she does, or experience something that she may through her eyes.
Yeah, and I loved her too. She was a lot of fun. So Melanie Tower is a retired fashion model.
Yes.
But first of all, I follow you on Instagram, and your content is like so streamlined and amazing on that platform. Um, I want to suggest that anybody who wants to raise the level of their social media game would benefit from taking notes from you for sure. But it also seems like you are no stranger to modeling.
I do have I have a background in corporate communications and education, and also a little bit of local modeling. Yes, have I gone to a big city? Yes, and experienced it. Um, it's a tough world, especially back in the day when I experienced it. It's very different now with social media. It really opened it up. But back in my day, the same as with Mel Tower's day, the main character, you didn't, if you were an it girl and you got the big campaigns and contracts, it was one world. And if you worked like she did, back behind the scenes, catalogs, body parts, it was
Mm.
a different world. And so she had to emotionally sort of just protect herself. And then as she moves back home and she hangs up her stilettos, as I say, and she moves back home to open a craft mall, her whole world opens up and she has to emotionally connect again. So that is what she does through this mystery.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can totally relate to that. I bet you it was a really harsh world
Yeah, it was a different
back
world,
then.
and the phrase "don't feed the models" was funny back in that time, and it
Mhm.
was on t-shirts. You wore, and you didn't dare, you didn't eat till after the shoot was done, and it wasn't right, but that's the way it was. And
Yeah.
so this is the world she lived through, and it affected her,
Yeah.
and thank goodness it's different now.
Yeah.
Models have more control over it. But again, you always have to have conflict in your novel. Your characters have to be flawed in some way. And
Right.
so this is what I could connect with and use in a story.
Yeah. It's great. You can tell that you understand a little bit of that world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the book opens with a neighbor crashing through Melanie Tower's gate to tell her that a body was discovered in her fashion mall. And I love the name of the fashion mall, the Bell Book and Anvil, that somehow that just sort of encompasses northern Wisconsin in a way.
Yes. Yes. So, it's a craft mall. So she decided to go And she, invests her money in this old building that was an old blacksmith shop. And she connects with artists and crafters and silversmiths. And, it just adds multi-layers to her world. But yet she can't decorate her own house,
Yeah.
because she's got this wall built up. And
Yeah.
then the inciting incident, which I love. I don't know about you, Tracy, but do you love finding inciting incidents to start your stories?
I think it's kind of, yeah.
You do. So
Yeah.
do I. Yeah, so do I. So, and the inciting incident is when her employee crashes the gate and says, I found someone dead in the mall.
Mhm.
Well, that opens up the door to the main character, Mel Tower, emotionally starting to open up, as well as breaking, the gate physically in her yard. But then she has to investigate something new. So that is the inciting incident. And I just love writing them. I love reading other stories that have great, inciting incidents. So that's
Yeah.
how.
Yeah, that's cool. Um, and so your book is also sprinkled with a heaping dose of good old-fashioned humor. I love the references to Wisconsin cheese and our love of tailgate parties. And it wouldn't be Wisconsin if you didn't mention our love of brandy a little bit.
Yes. Yes, it's a book served with a brandy old fashioned sweet and a side of cheese curds. So,
Exactly.
and if Wisconsin didn't invent tailgating, I think we had a hand in it at least. But it's just fun. And we have such a fabulous culture in Wisconsin, and we can laugh at ourselves. And those are the two reasons I think why I set my stories here. I love
Yeah.
it. You can take this writer out of the state for a vacation, but you'll never take the state, out of me.
Hmm.
Um, and I love it. I love the weather. I love the culture. I love the humor that we have and our traditions.
Yeah. Did you set out then originally to write humorous cozies? Was that your original thought process when you started writing?
I've always been they always say, write what you know. And
Hmm.
then I think you're naturally attracted to reading what you want to produce. So I've always been a reader of humor, Irma Bombeck, and then wonderful, wonderful sports writers, George Plimpton, Frank DeFord. Sports biographies are usually very funny.
Uh-huh.
Um, and Shakespeare, Oscar Wilde, P.G. Wodehouse were just inspirations for me. So I
Mhm.
I just wrote what I loved to read. And I think you have this passive learning as you read
Oh
those
yeah.
things. So and I've always loved mysteries. So I just thought, okay, I'm going to put them together. And then when my husband and I moved into our fixer upper
Hmm.
and it had a beautiful backyard, it just inspired me to write cozy mysteries that were funny.
Yeah. That's cool. And you share pictures of your backyard on your Instagram page too. It's beautiful.
Oh,
Beautiful.
thank you. And
Yeah.
I love it. And it's such a peaceful place. And it was a unicorn. It was a miracle that we found it. And we just love it. And it's going to be a perpetual fixer-upper. We're on the 20-year plan.
I know
But that's
I know the feeling.
I said, there are fixer-upper cozy mysteries. I don't think I could write one of those, but they
Yeah.
are out there.
Yeah, for sure. So Mel is sort of single in this book. She has a pilot boyfriend who flies by occasionally to see her. Will he be back in the next book, or is Mel looking for something new?
Oh, that's such a good question. I love tropes. And so there's, the will they or won't they trope. And of course, what's coming up is a love triangle trope. So, Mel, again, was emotionally cut off. So she could have a relationship with someone who could fly away a lot, right? Because she didn't have to commit.
Yeah,
Well, when that gate crashes and her world opens up to good and bad, right? A mystery and also getting to know herself, she realizes, I don't know if this relationship is working for me anymore. And that's a huge thing for people to acknowledge in their world, right?
yeah,
So she has to acknowledge it and actually voice it and say, I don't know if this is working for me, even though he's fabulous.
yeah,
He's funny, he's fabulous, he's handsome, he's kind. She's like, I don't know. And so, which is a big thing, you know, she's not obligated to stay with somebody just because of who he is. She needs to know who she is.
Right.
And of course, a handsome sheriff that shows up.
Right.
So in the second book, the beach read that's coming up, Model Wave, she has to acknowledge, look, there might be somebody else for me, or I have this wonderful pilot who might be my world too. So
Right.
yeah, you know, it's conflict,
Okay.
right? Writers love
Yeah.
conflict.
Yeah, I know. And I noticed there was a little bit of like a wandering eye happening in that.
Right.
So yeah, that's why I had to ask.
Yes.
Um,
Well, good eye.
and back to the murder though, the victim, Kat Gold, she was found dead as a doornail underneath a vintage door. Sorry, I had to do that.
Good one.
And you assembled a pretty impressive cast of people with reasons to do her in. The cat was also causing trouble.
Mhm.
So let's talk about her a little bit.
Mhm. She, you know, she was bold and aggressive and she wanted to be a social media star. Nothing wrong with any of that. But she was, she tried to push people into agreeing with her, people who didn't want to use social media. And they were like, you know, I'm fine the way I am. And so maybe she rubbed somebody the wrong way there. And she also trusted the wrong person. So, you know, you have to write your characters who are not one-dimensional, right? Even a victim like her,
Right.
as much as I hate to have any victim, right? But you have to have it in a mystery.
Yep.
So I try to give them depth and I try to give them some sort of personality so that the reader is interested in them, right?
Yeah.
Because you want to care about the people who live and don't in your
And
story.
don't. Right. Why do we care that she's dead? We need to
Right,
care.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so you've been talking about, the reader angle and the writer angle throughout this whole interview. And I know that you're also deeply engaged with the Wisconsin writing community. You're involved with the Wisconsin Writers Association. You blog on the Lost Lake Press website with Valerie Beal. And you started a podcast recently. Um, how do you have time for all of that?
Oh, well, thank you for asking. And thank you for, you know, that's where people can find me on the web if they want to, or, you know, my Instagram. Um, I, you know, I was in public relations and education, and then I went back to school and got my master's. And then I said, I'm going to write. I have to. I can't not write. And so this is my way of doing what I love. My morning time is sacred, right? I'm an early riser, and anybody else, please raise your hand if you're an early riser and you're a member of the 5 a.m. Writers Club. I'm with you. And so that sacred time between 5 a.m. to 10 or 11 is when I get my work done. And then after that, I can get outside, I can get some exercise, I can do blog posts, I can support other writers in a way, you know, any way they can that I can help. And just share my love of writing and reading. And it's just the way I want to go out. You know, someone said, you know, why do you write? And I'm like, well, it's because I can't not write. I love to tell stories. I love to entertain people. I love to make people laugh. And I love to support other writers in any way that I can.
Yeah. Yeah. Here, here, here,
Yeah.
here.
And you do it.
I do it too.
You do absolutely 100%.
Yeah, I love it. And I just love the writing community. I've always said I felt like I found my tribe here finally.
Yes.
Just people as a little bit loopy as I am, wanting to put murder at the forefront of their stories and
You know, never look at our search history, right? Don't look at our
exactly.
writer's search history. Yes.
Exactly. Um, So, what is your greatest inspiration? Do you have an artist or a musician or a cinematic experience that inspires you?
Oh, thank you for asking. You know, I thank you for asking that. I mean, my number one inspiration is my mom, you know,
Oh,
and I'm gonna, you know, my mother always said, find a way or make one. And as a writer, you have to do that because the writing world is so filled with projection and you're so alone. You're alone creating this story with your characters. You
mhm.
don't know how people are going to react to it. They might not like it. You'll get bad reviews for sure. You know that's coming. but Find a Way or Make One keeps me going. And even literally on her deathbed, she wanted her three children to be together and she wanted us to do what we loved. So I think when I get, another rejection in the mail or, I just think, no, find a way or make one, keep going. Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't mean I won't take an afternoon off and, do some self-healing, but you just keep going. And then it was just all those wonderful writers who I've read over time that are so good. They are artists on the page, and you want to get there. You
Yeah.
want to be able to write a paragraph like that. And sometimes that's the journey. You go,
Yeah.
and that's what keeps you going. And just to entertain people and make them laugh as long as
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Um, well, what is next for Mel? You said you're heading into a beach read with her.
Yes. Yes, Model Wave is romance, boats, and bad business in the Wisconsin Northwoods. And so she takes her first vacation in 20 years
Uh-huh.
and has fun in the Northwoods, but unfortunately someone's not going to make it. And she is poised to solve the mystery. But at the same time, there's a handsome sheriff there. And so her solving a mystery may affect their relationship. So
Oh,
yes, that's sort of a problem.
yeah,
When you're
it
an
might
amateur
be.
sleuth, and yes, yeah. It's, you know what? Somebody said you take your characters put them on a ledge and then start throwing things at them. Right?
Yeah,
So that's,
exactly.
yeah. So it's a
Yeah.
beach, this last one took place over the holidays. Model Suspect took place over the holidays. And I thought, oh no, we need to get out and have some sun and fun in the Northwoods because there's nothing like the Wisconsin Northwoods, the lakes and the pine trees and the eagles. And it's just so beautiful. They call it the New Hamptons, but don't tell anybody that.
Yeah.
Let's keep it a secret for a little while longer. But yeah, I just thought it'd be fun to tell a story there.
Oh, that's cool. Um, and then, well, what's next? Have I forgotten to ask you anything that you'd like to talk to your audience about?
Oh, well, thank you. I think the questions are fabulous. I always want to hear from people who, again, assisting other writers is a thing of mine. If another writer wants me to give a presentation about inciting incidents or write a blog post about it or
Mhm.
developing, multifaceted characters, anything like that, I would love a comment or an interaction so that I can learn from the people who listen to this or hear this and I can make my work better or somehow, create a presentation or something to help other writers. So if you have a comment, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. That'd be great. And so, yes, people, please put your comments in the chat below. Um, so lastly, where can readers find your books? Where would you like them to go and buy your books?
Oh, thank you for asking. Um, Thank you for your support of indie bookstores. You can find my work. You can go to bookshop.org and buy it, which they go and support indie bookstores. You can request it through your local indie bookstore. There are a couple of special stores on my list. One would be Frankie's in Thiensville, Frankie's Book Nook in Thiensville, Books and Company in Oconomowoc, Literatus in Watertown, and then White Arrow's Home in Minocqua area. I love you, love you, love you guys for carrying my books. And you can also find me on Instagram. I'm redoing my website, so that'll be
Mhm.
updated soon. And then the Blackbird Writers Substack. I'm a
Yeah,
part of that too. So yeah,
great. And look for her on Instagram. It's the backyard model.
backyard model on Instagram, and I share my backyard. And I love to thrift, and I love to look at some little local stores too. So, I share just anything that it might be fun for people who enjoy thrifting or good bakeries near me or coffee shops. And then,
Yeah,
beautiful views of the backyard, something inspiring and peaceful that starts your day like in a nice way.
yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Tracey. This has been a great talk with you today. And good luck with your next books.
Oh, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this conversation and thank you for having me and happy reading and writing, everybody.
Yeah. All right. Bye now.